had to share this potato side dish with you. It's one of my family's favorites and it uses both sweet and regular potatoes. It's highly customizable and you can change out the flavors for different occasions. Let me show you how to make it. Start by washing and peeling your potatoes. You can leave the peels on if you'd like. I prefer to remove the skin because I like the texture a little bit better. You might have to go over your sweet potato twice. Sometimes the skin can be pretty thick. I like to take the tip off of my sweet potato because they're usually quite pointy. If you have a flatter end, don't worry about this, but it's harder to get even slices with that big tip on there. And I leave the bottom tip as a handle. And then cut your potato into roughly 1/2 centimeter or 0.2 inches thick. And I've done this about 1,000,000 times by hand, but you can also do this with a mandolin if you have one, and it makes the process much easier. And with a mandolin, it's safety first, so either use your guard that it came with or a Kevlar glove. See what I mean about that little handle? Once your potatoes are cut, just pop them into a large bowl. To your potatoes, add 60 milliliters, 4 tablespoons of olive oil. You could also use avocado oil or whatever oil that you and your family like. Then go in with about 4 grams, 4 teaspoons of salt. If you're not adding the cheese, add more salt. 4 grams, 4 teaspoons of mixed herbs or whatever seasoning you want. I'm using mixed herbs for this recipe today, but you can change it up for whatever occasion you'd like. Sage would be really nice around Thanksgiving. You could use thyme and a little bit of lemon zest in the spring. You can even mix up the seasonings, add a little bit of cayenne or cumin or coriander, change up the flavors to fit what you like. And then I'm going to grate in 1 cup, 100 grams of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. You could use grano padano, you could use pecorino romano. You could take the cheese out completely if you really want to. And I like to freshly grate my cheese, but if you have some in a container, just use that. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you've got on hand. It's a really simple, nice recipe. And then I'm going to grate in 2 cloves of garlic. If you haven't got fresh garlic and you want to use garlic powder, you'll need about a teaspoon of garlic powder. And if you don't like garlic, don't add it. And if you love garlic, well, measure with your heart. And then we're just going to mix it all together. And I find my hands are the best tools for that. Try and get each piece of potato coated in that seasoning and that oil, the cheese. Make sure every single piece has a little bit on it. And this is why it's so great to use your hands, because you can really get in and separate those pieces and make sure that everything's really nicely covered. And that's each piece of potato really nicely coated. Preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I also like to give my tray a nice drizzle of olive oil to make sure nothing sticks. You could also line it with foil or parchment. That is totally up to you. And I'm using a tray with sides. You can just use a regular baking sheet. So whatever you've got on hand, it doesn't have to be fancy. And we're just going to start layering them. And I like to try and alternate. So I'll start with a sweet potato and then I'll go a regular potato and just keep going back and forth, back and forth. And you know, if you've got too many potatoes at the end, we can shove a few more in here and there. It doesn't really matter. It's not super fancy or difficult. It's just, it looks beautiful. It looks like you've put a lot of time and effort in, but it's such a simple, beautiful dish to make. With my second row, I like to go in the opposite direction of the first row. You don't really have to, but it just adds a little bit of visual interest if you're going to be presenting it at the table like this. And this is a great dish to make ahead for a barbecue. If you're going over to someone's house and they're hosting, you can cook it in advance. It can be just gently warmed up in the oven, or you can eat it at room temperature and it's still delicious. And like I said, if you've got some space, just wiggle the potatoes up. Get them right up there. We've got lots more room for potatoes in this row. And just me being fussy, I like to try and start and end on the same potato. So if I've started this row with sweet potatoes, I'll do this one with white potatoes and vice versa. And into the oven. These will need to cook for about 35 to 45 minutes, but it'll depend on your potatoes. I've had some that have been really hard and it's taken up to an hour. So just give them a nice test with a fork to make sure they're tender. I recently made this dish on a family holiday for my extended family, and my cousin absolutely fell in love with them. He's since passed away. Hang on. He's since passed away, and so now every time I make these potatoes, I think of him and I send him a smile. They look and smell so good. Look how gorgeous and golden they are. It's the perfect side dish for showing the people you care about just how much you love them. Love you, Mikey. These are best eaten on the day that you make them, or you could prepare them one day in advance, still baking them and then just warming them up before you're ready to eat. But they're also great cold from the fridge. This recipe serves 4 people, but it can easily be scaled up or down. I've put the quantities in the description below per potato so that you can scale it up to as many as you need.